So, hi everyone, and welcome to the Newconomy series. I'm delighted to welcome our guest today, Maxwell Moeller. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Close, close. It's actually
No.
molar, like the tooth.
Oh, Moeller.
But that's okay. That happens a lot because there's all the different spellings of molar or Mueller,
Yeah.
and there's so many different things. So no worries. But thank you guys so much for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to have you here. So, I'm going to have Max introduce himself very soon. But
Mm.
first of all, I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Crypterium, for making this series possible. Crypterium is a mobile app that turns cryptocurrencies into money you can spend as easily as cash. With Crypterium, you can shop around the world and pay your clients with coins, tokens, or scanning QR codes. You can also send money across borders for a fraction of the penny. Thank you, Crypterium, for making this possible. Now back to you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Introduce yourself to our audience.
Yes, definitely. My name is Max Moeller. I'm a freelance writer focusing on the gaming and cryptocurrency, blockchain industries. Anything involving emerging technologies really is what excites me. But these are sort of my biggest focuses because that's what I know the most about. In fact, I kind of sort of fell into cryptocurrencies and blockchain by accident, actually, because I was originally a games journalist because I've been playing games my whole life, and games sort of raised me and instilled in me the morals I have, and I believe that they can be viewed in a very positive light, especially compared to how they are right now. So my job originally when going into writing was to showcase that and show people that games can be a lot more than just entertainment. They can be viewed just like any other form of entertainment, like movies, music. They can be used to teach, portray messages, all that sort of stuff. And then when it came to blockchain, one of my freelance writing clients, actually, he was like, hey, this was during the Bitcoin blow up back in late 2017. And he was like, hey, people are talking about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, all this other stuff. Can you get on that? I want articles about this. And I was like, I mean, sure, I know next to nothing about it. I've heard talk of it online, of course, but I was like, sure. Why not? So I got into a few articles about Bitcoin, reading about blockchain and everything, and the potential sort of fascinated me. Back then, I only knew about the financial aspects of blockchain, of course. But then
Yeah.
when I started reading about all the different applications, how it can be used in nearly every industry, I was fascinated. It felt to me like it did when I first started playing games or when I first started writing about games or realizing that was a career. That level of excitement, that level of being able to show people something so cool with all this potential. That I felt that again, and I hadn't felt that since I started playing games. So I was like, this is something I want to do more of. And then, of course, when I realized it intersects with gaming and I could have those two intersect and start building a career around that, of course, I was very excited. So yeah, that's most of what I do is writing for different clients every day, fitting in games when I can. But I'm also just fascinated by all different types of art. Music, actual physical art, digital art. I'm always working on all of my skills regarding any of those things. Yeah, I'm just fascinated by the process of creation and how blockchain can help that.
Sounds pretty interesting. Do you have a co-founder or
A co-founder?
like,
No.
yeah.
What? What's
Are
that?
you currently are you currently building a product or you just write for blockchain clients?
I've had a few ideas for products, nothing that I've executed on though right now. Right now, what I'm still trying to do is build a stable footing for myself within the industry as well as get the bills paid.
Yeah,
Most of what I do is writing for other clients. I'm working on a gaming project right now, but it has nothing
yeah.
to do with blockchain, unfortunately. But no, I have some ideas, and I would love to be a part of a blockchain project down the line. But right now,
Okay.
that is not the case. No.
Okay. All right. So before we continue, I'm going to speak to the audience for a minute to let them know what the format of the entire interview is. So hi guys, if you're joining in from Facebook or YouTube, welcome to the Newconomy series. We're really grateful to have you here. We're going to have this interview in 2 segments. So the first segment is the open segment, which you're probably watching right now on YouTube or Facebook. Here, we're just going to get to know Maxwell a bit, get to know about his experience in the space. And in the second segment, it's going to be more exclusive. And for that segment, we're going to stream it only with our community, the Newconomy community. So there's the link in the description box. If you're interested in really getting to the nitty-gritty of this interview, we encourage you to subscribe, and then you're able to watch the full thing. So before we go on from the first, now I'm talking to you, Maxwell. Mm-hmm. Before we go on from the second segment, we're going to take a short technical break where we switch over to the exclusive community. I'll let you know when that time comes.
Perfect.
All right. So let's get right into it. Mm-hmm. So do you think there are more opportunities in the gaming blockchain space compared to other fields?
I'm hesitant to say that there are more opportunities in the gaming blockchain space compared to others, but because blockchain is such an emerging field, you'll search online for blockchain jobs and you'll see that they're one of the most, especially blockchain developers, you'll see that they're one of the most searched for jobs as of like last year. Like interest has skyrocketed for blockchain developers. And as we know, it's a very early industry. So anyone who has any sort of idea, even slightly related to blockchain, they're looking to get involved. Like I've worked with people who are trying to create a decentralized freelance platform. I've worked with people who are looking to create a freelance meditation app. So saying that there's a bunch of opportunity in one space, I don't think I can really comment on that. I'd have to say that there's just opportunity throughout the industry, which I think is really cool, because no matter your interest, there is probably a project that's going to focus on that, which I think is really, really cool. Obviously, a lot of them won't make it out alive, which sucks. But that has to happen at the start of emerging technologies. There has to be that first wave. So yeah.
Okay. So apart from gaming, what other occupations or fields do you see in the blockchain space that really excites you? Like, what's your favorite use of blockchain so far that you've come across?
Definitely the idea of a decentralized freelance platform. Because as a freelancer, I work a lot with Upwork, not so much Fiverr or any of the other ones. Upwork has been sort of my main space. And one of the biggest issues I have with Upwork is, clients trying to rip you off, of course, or payments taking a while because clients don't hit the accept button. Like the other week, I did a lot of work for this one client and we were going back and forth. They were very attentive. It was great. And they liked the work. And then one day she was like, all right, thanks for this revision. That's awesome. And then I was like, thanks. And she forgot to hit accept on the payment. Yeah. And I was just like, I just kept messaging her. I was like, hello, can you please hit accept on the payment? Because it already takes another 5 days from them hitting accept, and then Upwork takes fees. They take 20%. So that was quite frustrating. It took like a week for her to get back. And like, it wasn't anyone's fault. They just weren't on the platform at the time. So, the idea of automated smart contracts and instant payments and not taking as many fees, and also just a better reputation system on a decentralized freelance platform, I think would be great. Tokenized reputation, I think, is key, because you have some clients that they're just tough clients. That just happens in the industry, and they don't always give fair ratings. And it's just really frustrating to deal with them sometimes. And some clients won't even leave you ratings. So I think that having a tokenized reputation for both the clients and the freelancers would incentivize a lot more collaboration. There'd be a lot less crap on the platforms, for lack of a better word. And just also having that autonomy. Like, as a freelancer, you work for yourself. It's your business. You want as much control as you can. And you kind of have to rely on these centralized platforms for now. I'm fortunate enough to be in an industry where I can move away from Upwork a lot of the time. What's that?
No, not you. Sorry. Go on.
No worries. yeah, I'm fortunate enough to work in an industry where I can move away from Upwork. But starting freelancers, that's not always the case. You know, about a third of the American workforce is freelancing, and that's tough to get involved with. And when you see
Yeah.
on Upwork, you see people with these top-rated status already. You have clients; they're not going to move to those newer freelancers. Like, why would they?
Yeah.
You know, they're going
Yeah.
to. So I think a decentralized platform will help alleviate a lot of that, especially because you can bring your tokenized reputation to other freelance platforms that are decentralized, like they all work in
Yeah.
tandem. So it opens up a lot of freedom for freelancers, and I think that'd be fascinating. I think that's a really important use case.
Yeah. That really sounds interesting. Is it being built at the moment or?
There are quite a few being built at the moment,
Oh, okay.
but to be fair, I haven't looked in like
Okay.
a little bit, but I've gotten
Okay.
involved with a couple and they didn't really go anywhere. So but
Yeah.
there are some being built, but nothing like nowhere you can make a career around just yet, to my understanding at least. Like there's no
Yeah.
place like Upwork or anything. You know, they're all still very early on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you talked about the rise in blockchain kind of jobs on sites like Upwork. What specifically are they looking for? Like, what jobs in blockchain do you find that people are looking for talent for on sites like
Definitely.
Upwork?
Definitely blockchain developers. To be fair, I'm mostly paying attention to the writing side, but helping people create currencies is a big one. I see that every day. It like filters even into my writing filter. It's help us create a cryptocurrency for this project, or a blockchain developer who knows how to create
Yeah,
assets and that sort of thing. Just creating a blockchain, just work that is very tough that a lot of people just don't have much of an understanding of.
yeah,
Which is also why it pays so well. And that's the other issue with Upwork, is that a lot of the jobs don't pay very well because clients don't realize, or they just don't care
yeah,
how much that is worth. So then when you go on places like LinkedIn, and if you search like blockchain developer or like content writer, you're going to find a lot more realistic jobs that will pay well. And even for the few blockchain startups I've worked with, they've always been looking for more developers. To be fair, they don't really have trouble finding developers. It's just finding developers that actually know what they're talking about and are
yeah.
willing to dedicate the time. So definitely, from my experience, is developers, developers, developers.
Developers. Okay. Then what about the writers? You've written other kind of articles and now you're into like blockchain crypto articles. Do you find that you're able to charge more in this niche, or it's still pretty much?
Yes, I've definitely been able to charge more in this niche. The issue with gaming and game writing is that a lot of people want to do it, because a lot of people think, oh, you just get to play games all day. And no, actually, you're hardly ever playing games in games writing. So the thing is, there's just so much work there. It's a very
Yeah,
oversaturated market, so you really have to stand out, which takes time. You know, it takes years. You're not just going to do it overnight. That's just not how life works. So what's really nice was with blockchain was, yeah, I am able to find more work because it's a lot more niche. Not a lot of people know about it. It's funny. I often make the joke. Or like the people I talk to in real life, like my real life friend group and everything, the people I see every day, my roommates,
yeah,
it's hard for me to talk about blockchain with them. Like sometimes like I'll talk, they have knowledge of it, of course, but
yeah,
I'll have to talk to them about it. And like, I want them to like ensure like some parts of this are accurate and everything. And it's like, they really can't because they don't know much about it. So
yeah.
it's definitely niche enough, to where I don't have much trouble finding work. It's definitely, it's not as prevalent as say blockchain developers, of course, because that's the
Hmm.
real important platform building. But
Yeah,
in terms of writing, you know, startups are always looking for writers because this is a complex technology, excuse me, and people need to understand it, and these startups need people to understand it, otherwise they won't get anywhere, you know. So
yeah.
so yeah.
Okay, cool. So next question we have for you says, what are your favorite resources or people, advocates of the blockchain space that you learn from? So
Hmm.
people we can follow on whatever platform.
Yeah. um let's see, a lot of my information I get from press releases as a crypto journalist, going to different
Okay.
conferences and everything. Of course, Vitalik, the creator of Ethereum, He's one of my favorites. I love how on Twitter he can be kind of snarky at times. He isn't just like all trying to be proper and everything like that.
Yeah.
I love influencers who are a bit more real. They don't just try and put on like a good face for everyone. If people try and give them crap, they'll give it right back. I think John McAfee is an interesting influencer involved in the crypto space. But my favorite place for knowledge is actually the Block Crunch podcast. You can find them.
Crunch podcast.
Yes,
okay.
Block Crunch. It's one word, at least on Spotify, it's one word. And it's run by an investor and crypto asset researcher, Jason Choi. And he takes different themes every single week, and he'll interview big people in the crypto space and ask them their thoughts on things, how certain things have happened, what they think about the future of crypto. I haven't listened to it yet, but the episode that went up today, he asks the founder of Storecoin, how should we build a democracy on the blockchain? And they just have like an hour-long discussion on how that should work. People who know about blockchain, they have ideas about democracy, but it's always interesting to get insight from people who actually work within it. The founders of different projects, the people who have been working on projects for a long while. Those are always the best insights. And I find that this podcast gets a lot of those people involved, and they all talk. It's just an hour-long casual conversation. It isn't anything like super formulaic or anything, and you get a lot of good insight, and it's really nice. The Block Crunch podcast, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. And then on the flip side, just like we have, advocates, we also have what do I call them? Critics. Some are really loud.
Naysayers.
Naysayers. Yes. Are there any critics you've taken note of and that you kind of understand what their concerns are, or?
Sort of. I know a lot of the banks, especially like JP Morgan and Wall Street, they don't like crypto. And I go very back and forth on a lot of these insults because, of course, in an emerging industry, that you're always going to have the long-term people in the industry be like, no, this is dumb. We need to keep doing what we've been doing because it's been working. And that's admirable. If what you've been doing has been working for so long, I understand why you'd want to stick with it. But I've always been of the mindset that you need to be open to new ideas, be open-minded, just like with kids. Kids tend to tell it how it is. If they see something about you, they will say it, regardless of how it makes you feel. And I think that that's very important, especially in the tech industry, which is changing all the time. Right now, you have AI, you have big data, you have blockchain, and in 5 years, who knows if there will be just something entirely different that runs over all of that. So that's why I think it's so important to be open to these new trends. And I think it's just kind of funny for people like JP Morgan to just dismiss blockchain and cryptocurrency. And to be fair, I think a lot of them are coming around. But, you have companies like Facebook and Amazon getting involved with it, and Google. And the fact that governments don't know what to do about it still, especially the US government, I think that that's worth paying attention to in its own right. Or the fact that people say, oh, Bitcoin is useless because it hit 20K and then it suddenly had a huge drop off. I always find that to be kind of a silly argument because, you had all those whales, or just the people who have been holding Bitcoin since 2008, the early 2010s. And suddenly they go into their portfolio and they realize it's worth hundreds of thousands, if not millions. They're going to sell off. Of course they're going to sell off. So of course the value is going to drop again. And that just wasn't, it's hard to say that wasn't supposed to happen because, but if you think about it, the fact that Bitcoin is even worth, it's 3.8K as of this morning, 3.7. The fact that it's even there when only a couple years ago it was in the hundreds is fascinating in and of itself. And it will catch up to itself. It will regulate, stabilize, and move up slowly as it does. People who say, oh, Bitcoin is a failure because it hit 20K, then dropped, it's useless. It's that doesn't make sense. That was just a spike. And what's good about that is the interest is there now. People are aware of Bitcoin and blockchain. Hell, it got me involved in the industry. It got people involved. It has headspace. I can talk to people, and that was a good thing for us.
Okay, so I'm really enjoying this, and we could go on and on, but we have the second segment to get to. But before we go, the last question over here, because we are talking about careers in blockchain gaming.
Yes.
So, slash freelance writing. So if you could give a newbie advice, what would you tell them? Where should they start? You started in 2017, so that's not too far, behind. So where can they start right now?
Definitely, if you're talking freelance writing, in any freelance writing, not even just blockchain based, just start doing it. Create a blog, create a YouTube channel, or something where you're just getting your voice out there and you're practicing. The reason I was even able to get involved in crypto is because I had a portfolio of gaming work. I showed that I was consistent. I showed that I was able to publish work. The biggest thing editors want isn't perfection. Like, perfection is something every creator struggles with, outside of writing, let alone writing. And you're going to just sit there and stare at your paragraph, and you're just going to be like, oh, is this word, this word, this word, this word? It doesn't matter. And like, it matters. Yeah. But what editors want is a writer who gets things done. They will take a writer who isn't perfect but turns in the work by the deadline every day over someone who turns in fantastic work but takes 3 weeks to do it. So the biggest thing is getting yourself out there. Like, when I started in gaming, I just did it. Like, I created a YouTube channel for myself, just talked about games every day. I just uploaded things. Like, it wasn't regulated. There was no money, of course, but you just have to, like, get your name out there. And I reached out to a site and I was like, hey, this is what I can do. Would it be cool if I started writing for you guys? And they were like, yeah. They saw that I do things. They saw that I can be on top of trends, that I could talk about trends. And it also just helps you with your skills. Like, working on YouTube helped me with search engine optimization. It helped me learn about SEO. It helped me learn about trends. It just helped me learn about how to market myself. So it's also, think of it as an investment in yourself. You're not doing it for free. Obviously you'd like to get paid for this work one day, but you're still not doing it for free. You're learning. You're gaining new skills. You're putting yourself out there to be heard. Like, people will find you eventually. Like, it's hard at first, but eventually there comes a turning point where you can reach out to people. You can be confident enough in your own work to reach out to people and be like, hey, this is what I do. It's decent. Can we help each other out? Can we work together? And then it just sort of snowballs from there. But again, the biggest thing is just doing it. It's just starting to do it, not saying, oh, I'd like to become a writer, but it seems daunting. It is daunting, but just like try and do like 500 words a day at the start, like when you wake up in the morning or something like that. Just having that start and then building up the momentum and going from there is the biggest thing in any skill, not even just writing, just any skill, but especially here.
Yeah. Were there any specific books you read about blockchain gaming that really like made you feel like, okay, I belong here? Were there any books, blogs, stuff like that?
Let's see. Definitely Hacker Noon is a big space for that. To be honest, there hasn't been a ton of blogs I've been reading on gaming and blockchain. It's sort of just something that I get involved with. There wasn't anything that convinced me, oh, this is where I belong. It was more so the fact that people were asking for my insight and I was able to provide it to them. And I felt confident in the information that I was providing. That's really where I sort of felt like, okay, I feel like I can do this. Or like, I've interviewed a couple of blockchain projects now, and talking with them and being able to understand what they were talking about and have a conversation with them, like more than a surface level conversation, is really what validated it for me. It was talking with my peers, realizing that they are my peers and not just people that I look up to. I think that's what validated it for me than anything else.
All right. Thank you so much, Maxwell. This first segment has been really interesting. In the second segment, we're going to get into more nitty-gritty questions. I just want you to know that our audience is very varied. We have beginners, we have experts, so the questions are going to be going up and down.
Definitely.
Like yo-yo. Get used to that. So before we move on, we're going to switch over to our technical team, and then they'll switch to the exclusive community. So hi guys, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, this is a moment where we actually go to the community segment. So there's a link in the description box below. Feel free to click that and join us. We'll see you soon.